Today we will talk on formwork. When we discuss about formwork, then formwork means an arrangement made to keep concrete in position until it gains sufficient strength and shape. Now, concrete may require vertical arrangements, horizontal arrangements, or maybe sometime in curve shape. And then formwork includes both vertical arrangement made in concrete work and also horizontal arrangement made for concrete work. Now, vertical and horizontal arrangements may require arrangements directly applied at concrete members and also their supporting arrangements. And then what we say that hence formwork has many components. And when we talk about shuttering, then shuttering is one of the component of the formwork. Now, shuttering basically is a vertical temporary arrangement which is arranged to bring concrete in a desired shape. It means when concrete requires vertical arrangement and whatever formwork is used, then that is called shuttering. So, shuttering is part of formwork. Thus, formwork is different from shuttering. Formwork is a broad term, while shuttering is for a specific purpose. It is a part of formwork, as I told, or we can say that it is a derivative of formwork. Now, you see here that this vertical arrangement or shuttering is shown, taken a figure, the reference of which has been given. Here also you can see vertical surface and web reference has been given. And then if we talk about shuttering specifications, then shuttering basically we'll see that it should be of sufficient stiffness, because when we pour the concrete, then it should remain in its shape. Therefore, it should have sufficient stiffness to avoid excessive deflection, and then joints also should be tight, because otherwise cement slurry is there and there will be a leakage of slurry, and then again it will affect the strength. Therefore, it is important that it should have sufficient stiffness. It should not have basically leakage of slurry, and if required, then different arrangements are made in shuttering, and like rubberized lining of material is provided. And we know that nowadays steel shuttering is provided with sufficient stiffening. And then steel shuttering should be properly repaired if there is any possibility of any de-shaping and or any leakage before use, and should be cleaned to avoid stains, honeycombing, leakage, etc. Then RS joist, MS channels, or any other suitable sections shall be used as runners. Assembly of beam head over props to be provided to provide wider support under beam bottoms. And as per CPWD specifications, only steel shuttering is allowed except for unavoidable portions and very small works for which waterproofing ply or approved quality of timber can be used. If so, when we briefly talk about the shuttering, it means it should have sufficient strength, and then this should have supports so that it is in shape and safe, and there should be no reflection, or whatever, if deflection is permitted, then within different tolerance limits, and there should be no leakage of slurry from the shuttering. So this is basically what we are talking is one part of the formwork. If we talk about design and tolerance in construction, then it is given that it is to be as per requirement of columns, beams, walls, or any other members wherever it is used. Tolerances are given in IS codes and CPW specifications, and they are applied to concrete dimensions and not to positioning of vertical steel or dowels. So they are given as deviations from specified dimension of cross section of columns, beams as plus 10 mm or minus 5 mm, and then for foundation or footings it is more as given here. Then if we talk about the centering, so far we have talked about the shuttering. Now second part when we talk, then it is centering. Now centering is also part of the formwork. Centering is basically a temporary arrangement and part of formwork which is arranged to support horizontal members. Shuttering is for vertical members and centering is for horizontal members. So technically if you talk, then the formwork for floor beams and slab is called as centering. Now, so if we take these two, shuttering and centering, then shuttering will be basically for columns, beam sides, walls, slab sides, chhajja vertical sides, vertical arrangement, and centering will be for horizontal portions, that is beam bottoms, slabs and chhajja bottoms. Now, generally we talk about centering and shuttering combinedly we use, and when we even measure in schedule of rates or in specifications, it is called centering and shuttering as one item. So that's why this combines vertical and horizontal both portions. So that's why it is called centering and shuttering. So in case of structures with two or more floors, the weight of concrete, centering and shuttering of any upper floor being cast is to be suitably supported on one floor below the topmost floor already cast. And formwork and concreting of upper floor shall not be done until concrete of lower floor has set, particularly in general concrete work, for at least 14 days in normal case. This centering you can see for horizontal portion. Now let us talk about the staging. Staging is a temporary member which is used to support centering or shuttering. It means whenever vertical members or horizontal members are there for concrete casting, then for supporting that whatever we are using it is staging. And it is done through props, jacks, edge frames, cup-lock system, wooden bullies, etc. So these are all parts of the staging. Now here is one figure is given, and then the reference is also given of the website. So formwork basically includes centering, shuttering, propping and staging. And staging should be designed with required extension pieces to ensure proper slopes as per design of slabs, beams, etc. and as per the labels shown in the drawings. And all the staging should be either of tubular section, steel structure with adequate bracings, or of built up for structural section made from total structural steel sections. And then if you see basically formwork, then this is given in CPW specifications for walls, columns, beams, etc. And those interested, they can refer CPW specifications. Different components are also given. And then let us talk something about scaffolding. Scaffolding is not part of formwork. Formwork basically is arranged to support the structural members, and scaffolding is provided for workers. This is basically workers' platform around the building or wherever required to work at heights. So scaffolding is a movable or fixed platform, and hence scaffolding basically is not part of formwork. You can see that this is scaffolding, not part of formwork. And if we talk about the design philosophy of formwork, then formwork, because it is used in green concrete, so it has a lot of loadings. And then formwork has to be properly designed for self-weight itself, weight of concrete, weight of reinforcement, weight of fresh concrete, that too weight of fresh concrete, and various live loads likely to be imposed during construction process, as workers will be there, workmen will be there, materials will be there, equipment will be there. Another important thing is that the concreting, if it is poured or it is casted from the height, then impact forces are also there. So in case the height of centering, then that impact is also to be considered, or it is that from height it is not to be allowed. And it is also said that in case the height of centering exceeds 3.5 meter, the props may be provided in multi-stages. And then camber, if you talk, then suitable camber is to be provided in horizontal members, especially in cantilever spans, to counteract the effect of deflection. So this is also given in codes and also BOD specifications that should be followed. And then there is a removal of formwork or stripping period or stripping time. So in normal circumstances, forms may generally be removed after expiry of the period which is given here, and this again for normal concreting. And this vertical formwork, basically 2 columns, walls, beams, is to be stripped out for 43 grade concrete in 16 to 24 hours, and for PPC more time, that is 24 to 36 hours. And then this is to be done within the time, because curing is also important, and not before the time, because the strength should also be achieved. So both are important. And then soffit formwork to slabs 3 days and 4 days in case of PPC, soffit formwork to beam 7 days in both the cases, and props to slabs according to the span, and beams also. For other type of cements, this is to be adjusted. And if we are using PPC, then it is generally a multiplication factor of 10/7 with respect to OPC of 43 grade. And if rapid hardening cement etc. is used, then this is to be adjusted for that, and it is normally 3/7, a multiplication factor. So for any other type of cement, stripping time given for OPC is to be modified. As I have told that for a fly ash mixed concrete, that is and low heat cement, that is for PPC, a multiplication factor of 10/7 can be adopted. For initially, as we know that PPC does not gain strength as that of OPC, that's why the time is increased. And for rapid hardening cement, this may be reduced at about 3/7 of the time, with vertical sides of beam, slabs and columns minimum 24 hours. And then basically, so removal of formwork depends on type of cement, grades of concrete and admixtures. We are not talking about admixtures here, particularly which accelerates curing or attainment of strength. And then it depends on weather conditions also. Otherwise, these times, if we are using special admixtures, then timings will change. In case of cantilever slab, we should start stripping or start from free end. That is important, and then proceed towards fixed end after ensuring the bearing. So that is important according to the designs of cantilever slab. And removal of formwork of simply supported slab is we should start from mid-span to ends. So basic principle is that we should follow the design behavior. And then surface treatment is to be given in case of shuttering or formwork. So shuttering oils are available. Nowadays even polymer based water soluble compounds are available. So they should be used. And then what is important is that project engineer or their representative should inspect the formwork and then approve it. That is important because there are large number of cases where this formwork fails, and then there are a large number of casualties even. So and then loss of property. So it is very important that completed formwork should be inspected and approved by the engineer. See shuttering failure, you can see here also shuttering failure. And then the requirement of good formwork, if we talk, then it should be strong enough to withstand dead load and live load and forces caused by even ramming, vibration, compaction. Those are also to be considered. And other incidental load, as I told, imposed during and after casting of concrete. And it should be capable of retaining its shape. That is important by being efficiently propped and braced horizontally and vertically. So props and staging is to be used. And then joints should not have the leakage, so they should prevent leakage or cement slurry. Should be capable of being removed in various parts, and that is important, without damaging the concrete. And material should be reusable, so that cost comes down, and should be set accurately to the desired line. And as lightweight as possible. That is good for fixing also or stripping also. Should be rigid also, not warp or distort on exposure to the elements, and shall be made sufficiently rigid by using adequate number of ties and braces if required. And then screw jacks or hardboard wedges to make up settlement, if any, during or before placing of concrete. And should rest on firm base. That is important, and nothing should be small pieces or anything should not be used for that. It should rest on a firm base. So finally, we can define formwork as a term used for the process of creating a temporary mold into which concrete is poured and formed. It is vertical and horizontal arrangements made to keep the concrete in position until it gains strength and shape. Traditional formwork is fabricated using timber. Timber was usually used, but nowadays it is not used. Now it is through steel, even glass fiber reinforced plastic is available, aluminium formwork is available, and plastic is available. So basically, in brief, components of formwork includes centering and shuttering, propping, and staging. And there are 3 stages in formwork, basically: assembly and erection. So that engineers should see and check it. And then concrete placement. So that is also important, and that we do not allow unnecessary piling of the concrete at one place. So many workers at one place. Putting concrete from the height and all those things. So that is also should not be done. That is important. Sometimes concrete is placed at one place and it is then taken out here and there. That should not be allowed. Otherwise, that load, formwork may not take that much load. So we cannot pile up concrete at one place. So that is also should also be seen. And then third part is stripping of formwork. So that is to be done after it attains the strength and in sequence. There are a large number of types of formwork which are available. We have talked about conventional formwork or shuttering. That I told that timber was initially used. Nowadays steel formwork is used, and now GFRC or PVC are available. Specialized formwork have come now, which we call as jump formwork, aluminium formwork, tunnel formwork, or plastic formwork. And there are a large number of EPC panels or other panels made of different materials. So they are also stay-in-place formwork, what we call it. So those types of formwork are available. That we'll talk separately. But so far we have talked is this conventional formwork or conventional shuttering. And then there are references available, and particularly CPWD specifications and IS codes are available. And these items are in DSR, and that's why we measure them as centering and shuttering combinedly. So thanks for attending. I am KM Soni, ADG retired. Thanks a lot.